everybody. This is Schmitty's Kettle Corn here. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And if you guys want to support me, I'll have various links down below. I'm also going to set up a Patreon if people want to support me. And eventually I'll have a show where I actually do the caramelizer. My plan is to eventually buy a popcorn popper to where I can work with it. So far, I actually haven't been able to perfect my recipe yet to where I'm able to not have to toast the popcorn first. But I'm going to try to work around that here eventually. But today's episode is actually going to be about do I start a kettle corn business in 2025? And I have about 8 or 7 or bullet points that I'm going to go over today. And the very first one is very important, at least probably the most important. And so I'll go over those today. And if I miss anything today, feel free to actually put some things down below. I've been doing this now for 13 years here. In fact, if you see the first picture in my video, you'll see that was me about 13 years ago, where the prices of the popcorn are quite amazing. The small bag is $3, and $5 is the medium, and $8 is a large. And if I had those prices today, I wouldn't be in business today. So, anyways, this is Schmitty's Kettle Corn. Thanks you guys for following. Thanks for the new subscribers, and I'm gonna have some more videos now that my season's kind of coming to a close. I'm still popping out some stuff here for the winter season. I'm gonna go all the way till New Year's, and then when it's too cold, I see my family back in California. Now let's get to the first talking point here. Now this is boiling down to some of them maybe more or less important, but this is what I picked. And if you disagree with me, feel free to add some more things, or if I miss something, feel free to add below. But the number one thing I would say is money. Now people often say, well, I want to start a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm not making ends meet, blah blah blah. Now if you don't have money to buy the equipment and to get things started, there's I would say 2 different ways to do this, business. One, legally, and then 2, not legally. And when you actually go to the health department itself and you fill out the forms, on the actual forms, it will say, if you actually vend illegally, for example, without any licenses or anything like that, and the health department catches you, they actually can fine you up to $500 a day. Now, it's actually probably more than that. I don't know if anybody actually has been fined $500 a day. I've actually heard stories of people, but I myself have not been fined, and I'm too afraid to go to jail, and that's why I decided to do things legally. Now, the equipment part about it. Now, it's also the aspect as far as the business insurance and the health department. The first thing I actually did when I started my business was call my health department and to see if, number 1, I could pop fresh, number 2, if I could do my business under the cottage food law, and they said yes. And in fact, now as of 2019, they've actually added kettle corn specifically under the cottage food law. And number 3, what would my insurance licenses cost, and for example, of that sort, and if I needed to have a commercial kitchen, for example. There's all these things that are in place as far as if you can do your stuff at home versus if you can do your business at a commercial license facility, for example. And now, in my personal opinion, I believe that there should be more in place to where we could do more business at home. For example, when you go to the health department and you fill out your forms, there's something called medium, low to high risk. And popcorn is so low that I could burn the popcorn and still eat it, and I would still probably get some sales. I've actually had a customer who wanted to buy some burned popcorn, but at the end of the day, it's pretty hard to make somebody sick from the burned popcorn. Now, maybe someone might break their tooth from a kernel, but again, that's kind of like, you go there to expect to have some seeds in your bag for popcorn. And of course, this is why we also have the sifter. Now, again, with all of your equipment, I would probably say I was able to start back then in 2018. Of course, prices have increased on a $5,000 budget. I was lucky enough to get started by a former client of mine when I was a caregiver. They invested in me $5,000 to get started. I'm very lucky and fortunate that I have no loans in that aspect to where I had to get started. And then, of course, the thing that was probably hardest for me to get and obtain after that was a vehicle, and then after that, establishing credit. So these are all kind of things that I've learned the hard way, and for me to learn the hard way now, this is kind of why I want to do these videos, so that way when you get started, and if you want to get started, you don't have to learn things the hard way. I'm still learning things the hard way. I just got kicked out of an event here for Christmas because they didn't want me to pop fresh, and I ended up finding some more events anyways that would let me pop fresh. So there are all these things that I'm learning in the 6 years of doing this by myself, thinking that, oh, I used to do this before, I should know everything by now. Nope. Every day is a new learning experience. Now, with equipment, there are a lot of options you can go as far as buying your equipment, but if you're going to go with an 80-quart bowl or 160 quart bowl. I've already talked about that in some of these videos. You're looking at anywhere between $25 to $5,000 easily. Now you also have to factor in tables, your tent, your business name. What do you want to name your business? Your licensing. How much is that? So I pay about $175 for 3 years, and I'm registered as an LLC. And then my business insurance is about $75 a month. And I've changed that over the years. In fact, State Farm, for whatever reason, this dropped me. So there's all these things that are going to come into play here as far as how much things add up eventually to run every month. Gas, the cost of your bags, corn, sugar, oil, propane. So if you think that, I'm going to just get started right away and make a ton of money, I would say that is a myth. And I probably thought that in the beginning, not realizing how many bad days versus good days that I was going to have. And this is another story that I'll talk to you about. But, I still have enough good days to still do the business. And I've increased my prices a little bit as well. And have changed my structure around to where people still buy from me, to where that question, do I start a business in 2025, is really up to you. And this list will probably make things easier for you. So again, this is number one. And then we're going to go back on to number two. Number two is pretty simple, straightforward. Do I have the physical strength to do this business? Now, I've been doing this now for 13 years. If you see my photo, I did this back in 2010 is when I first started. On a hard day, and now if I'm by myself or with another person, I can do anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 by myself. And that's, when I get tired. And then I can pop about probably 3 to 4 50-pound bags in one day. I've actually done that before. In the Annapolis Boat Show in the beginning of the season, I do that. That's usually what I do in one day for the Saturday. And it's actually pretty physically hard. By the time I get home and pack up, that's when I just go to sleep and go straight to bed. And the other issue here is, of course, selling in extreme heat, selling in extreme rain. So if it rains, I typically don't go out at all. That's a big problem here. It rains a lot here. And in the extreme heat, depending on if you're in an area where there's a lot of heat, that might affect your business. I actually had some years where I didn't have 2 weeks worth of work because of the rain. And with the extreme heat, I don't go out after 95 degrees. So here, when you add the temperature of 95 degrees, it's going to be about 5 or 10 depending on the humidity. And that will affect your quality of not only your body and having to drink a lot of water, but that'll also affect your quality of popcorn. So as soon as you dump it out, and within 1 or 2 minutes, it'll start. It could be soggy. So you have to bag it up right away. And sometimes it's just a pain. Sometimes you just have to say it's not worth it. Also, when you sell at a market where you're on asphalt or if you're on the street, it's gonna add even more heat because the heat's gonna be radiating off the ground. So these are all things that you kind of had to figure out. And what I would do is go see a kettle corn guy and see if you could see their setup, and I would take a look and see, even if the stir, if you have an auto stir. Now I don't use stir. If you can physically do it, and see if that's something that you want to do. The question you ask yourself is where am I going to go sell my product? Am I going to just do it part-time to give to family and friends? Am I going to actually legitimately sell somewhere? And these are some of the questions that you got to ask yourself. And along with that, I'd say, where is my competition as well? That's probably one that I forgot to actually put on here. But are you going to do farmers markets? Are you going to do flea markets? Are you going to do retail? Are you going to do bars? So am I going to do just kettle corn, or I'm going to do flavors? Am I going to do in a retail store? I'm going to sell in front of a store? So these are all kind of questions that you kind of ask yourself in the beginning. And with that, you do research on, what do I have access to in my area? So when I first moved to Maryland about 10 years ago now, I actually looked up availability of markets, and I actually started calling and saying, hey, do you have a kettle corn vendor? And can I apply for next year? And can I apply for this year? And I'm still doing that this year. I'm actually making a whole bunch of new calls and new markets and trying to get into new places. And your markets will be better that way. And it'll take time to start off slow. And then, now my markets are doing really well. So nothing's going to happen overnight. That's probably one advice that I will happen to you. I've been working on this now for 6 years myself. And I do pretty well to where I can actually support myself with just one job. But I started off doing my job and doing my other jobs for 2 years before I started off on my own. And it could be different for other people. You could have a support network where you have a wife at the house, or a partner where you can have them, support you or help you or whatever, or if you have a family already, or you maybe might be retired. I have a lot of people ask me if you're a veteran, or if you're disabled, would this be good? And I'm actually disabled myself, but I'm not a veteran. And so, with that being said, this has been the best decision I've ever made, is being my own boss. And if that is something that you strive for and you have a good sales aspect, I say really just go for it. This is easily for number three. And if you have a good sales, personality, give out to your neighbors and friends. They'll be happily buy from you. In fact, even with all the saturation and everything that has been going on over the years, kettle corn is still very popular. Kettle corn is still very high in demand. I still have a lot of people who like to buy it, and I eat it myself, and it's taken off. So more the merrier. Hopefully, there won't be too much competition where it hurts my business. So that's why this year I started selling different things like pork rinds. I also do cotton candy. So we'll do that in another video. But let's go on to number four. It's actually really important. Probably this one is actually just as important as number one. And with this one here, do you have personality? I actually see so many people who I sell at the vendors with, at markets and craft shows and things like that, who, for whatever reason, do not have personality. They have personality of a cold brick. And it's actually kind of funny because it's like I present myself in my booth in a position where I'm out saying hi. Hey, do you want to try a sample? Do you want to? That is the one question that will always open the door up for a conversation. I have people who come up to me and say, "Hey, I don't like popcorn," and I always laugh at that. It's like, "Okay, well, thank you. Well, have a nice day. Come on by and say hi to me, anyways." And I have people who come on by who say hi to me for a few minutes, and I have people who just want to buy something and then leave. So this is all these things that I've learned over the time a year as I've been doing this, and it's one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life is in sales, and it's I love, even though I have anxiety and I have social anxiety and I have trouble speaking to people at times, and I repeat myself sometimes, and I fumble up my words, and I say something stupid sometimes, or I say, "Why did I say that?" So, and also I'm horrible at small talk. So with this will give you practice. If you have a sales experience, if you've sold cars before, or if you've been in an environment where you've been around a lot of people, like in a restaurant, or if you've been in a retail establishment before in the past, and if you could be a cashier, because you're going to have times when you have a line of people, and I have lines of people, 4, 5, 10 deep, and I'm going to need to talk to everyone and say hi. I'm the owner. This is my business. I'm passionate about what I sell, and it's a great product to sell. You also have a lot of things that are going to help you sell your product. If you're popping fresh, for example, it's going to be right there for you to smell. And if you offer samples, if you have a helper, if you're offering cash and cards, if you're offering different products, the longer someone takes time to stay at your booth, the more likely they're going to spend money. And if you offer samples and different products, they're going to spend money. That's what has helped my average sale go up tremendously this year. Rather than spend $8, $15, $20, and I see people walking away with one bag, 2 bags, 3 bags, and I eat it myself, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about in our last portion of this video here. But if you have personality, and if you can say hi to them, if you can even smile, then this is the business for you. I've actually seen people who will stand, who are on their phone, who can barely say hi, who don't even say hi, and I just wonder, like, what are you in the business for? And oftentimes, what's sad about this is that they're not in the business for themselves. So if you're gonna be your own boss and you have the personality to do it, the amount of energy that I spend with my customers is probably equal to the amount of physical energy that I use at the booth where I'm popping. I say hi to everyone who walks around me. I'm friends with people. I go out of my way if I see somebody who can't, bring something to their car. I offer to assist them. These are people who are in your community, and this is really important to me. That being a part of someone's community is golden. And then once you start talking to people and getting to know people, oh, I have an event coming up. I'd like you to have some popcorn for me for a baby shower, or I'd like to have some popcorn for you for an event that I'm doing for a wedding. So these are all things that have really helped me as a person grow. When I might not have some days where I want to talk to people, I have depression and anxiety, and it might be the best of me. And then when I get out and sell, it's completely gone away for the whole day. So this is a lot of a few of the things that I think are very important to people if I'm going to start a business for being my own boss for next year. And let's go to the last one. Lastly, guys, do you like kettle corn? And do you like popcorn? And do you like various kinds of popcorn? Do you like pork rinds? Do you like cotton candy? Do you like what you sell? I think that's a very important part of my business. In fact, before I started this business about 13 years ago, worked in this industry, the one thing that I actually went to at the market and bought was when I had a little bit of money left over and wanted that quick high of something good to eat, lightly sweet, lightly salty. That kettle corn guy always got me. And this is at the Concord Market in Santos Plaza in Concord, California. And with that, I would buy other things after that. And so with that, I go to a market. People go there to buy, and if you're able to try it and taste it and to describe what you're selling to people, that with any sales business, if it's a cookie or it's a this is a little sugar, little salt. I also do, not only do I do kettle corn with sugar and salt, I also do savory flavors as well. I also do caramel corn. I do things like caramel corn chocolate. I do things like dill pickle, sweet cheddar, white cheddar. I also like the sweet cheddar because it has a little bit of sugar on it and it gives it a Chicago mixed taste. I also like the white cheddar because it has no sugar on it at all, and a lot of people are staying away from sugar. And so you get it with the times and the trends that people are in your area. You can make a specific flavor to your area, like the state of Maryland. You can probably add a little bit of Old Bay on it. So these are the kind of things that people will come up to you and ask over the time that if you do this business. Like, hey, I actually want an Old Bay popcorn this week. Can I do it? Yeah, I'll get you next week for some Old Bay popcorn. Or this time I want some dill pickle. And I do different flavors each week, and that brings people back to you. And so this is the last thing that I was going to say, along with the competition. As far as that would probably be maybe another video. But I think 5 for right now is going to be great. And if you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. I really appreciate some of the new followers, and nice meeting everybody. I'd love to have a guest spot for some older or younger kettle corn vendors to see how their business is going. If you guys want to do a video with me, give me a shout out. And I'd love to see about learning to some new things as well from some people who've done this for a little while. Anyways, this is Schmitty's Kettle Corn. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and follow me. You can also follow me on Facebook, and I'll have a link for my Patreon channel down below. And I'll have some more videos out this week now that I have some time during the week to do this. This is Schmitty's Kettle Corn. Thanks for watching, guys. And I hope, like I said, I hope these videos help. Feel free to ask me any questions. If you want to consult, I'll do that too as well. I charge $25 for consulting. Thanks, guys.